But collegiate cross country season has entered its postseason phase, if you can call it that, and all the races are big championship events now that we've reached November, starting off with the conference championships in cross country now. Although regionals have more importance, especially for teams looking to do well at nationals, the conference championships are a great way to see who the favorites are for the individual and team titles this late in the season. And this year, we had some great matchups from loaded conferences across the NCAA, including the ACC, SEC, and Big 12 meets, with both teams and individuals making big statements. Starting with the ACCs that saw Stanford head all the way to North Carolina with the conference realignment. This meet featured a lot of talent, especially on the individual level. The biggest name in the field would be Parker Wolf, a runner I really enjoy watching as he's always grinding it out at the front. And coming off a third-place finish at the Olympic trials as well as a 2024 Nuttycombe title, Wolf is certainly one of the favorites to win it all this year. One guy, though, who's been up there with him has been his teammate Ethan Strand, and the two would be at the front of this race along with a bit of surprise in Gary Martin, a kid known for breaking the 4-minute mile in high school and also a bit of a dark horse going into this conference race. Yet Martin would do something spectacular, not only winning, but winning convincingly with an exceptional time as he establishes himself as another guy to watch out for come nationals.
No doubt on this one as he hits that straightaway.
Gary Martin taking one last look back, and he sees he's got this.
A breakthrough race for Gary Martin. And for the team title, it would be Wake Forest, despite Rocky Hansen not having his best race. But the talented Wake Forest runner could still be a factor at nationals as he's displayed some insane results. Meanwhile, the women were led by Grace Hartman of NC State as that program looks to rebuild this year.
One more time, the individual champion. Here she comes with this home crowd, Grace Hartman.
And the team title went to Notre Dame in a close battle between Stanford and UNC. There's obviously a lot of conferences we can cover, but I think one that deserves attention is the SEC conference, as we witnessed something very insane happen on that fast course at College Station, Texas. Patrick Kiprop of Arkansas dropped a stunning sub-22-minute 8K, something you just don't ever really see, even at the highest level of D1 cross country.
SEC champ 2024, Patrick Kiprop of Arkansas.
And there were a lot of fast results on this day as Arkansas and Alabama traded spots in the top 8. Yet cross country is a sport where your best 5 score, and Arkansas showed just how deep they were as their number 5 came in 16th place to give them a convincing win over Alabama. Now, I've done a video talking about the rise of East African talent in the NCAA, but the video was more focused on the men's side. At SECs, we also saw how that plays a factor on the women's side, as we did have a runner winning the conference championship from East Africa in Doris Lemgale.
19-20, that's a history lesson, 18-20. Amazing run by Lemgale.
I think she's a big favorite for the crown this year after taking second to Valby last year. But speaking of the big names I mentioned in that video about East African talent joining NCAA cross country, we'd see some big heavyweights go head-to-head at the Big 12 cross-country championships in Waco, Texas, and that included sub-60-minute half-marathoner Solomon Kipchoge of Texas Tech. However, he'd have to go up against a lot of East African talent, particularly from the OSU squad, and he wouldn't be able to take down defending Big 12 champ Brian Mosau, who pulled away to win in 22:06 to Kipchoge's 22:08 with Casey Klinger just behind Kipchoge. Although,
looks like a couple people.
Kipchoge did run in the wrong direction in the middle of this race, which may have cost him a bit.
Possible that two runners go in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But this was still a great finish between these top 3.
Mosau will be our back-to-back defending individual champion.
And the big thing for BYU in this race was, thanks to a huge race from their 2 and 3, splitting up OSU's 2 and 3, they were able to take down the number 1 ranked OSU Cowboys in what was a huge victory.
Coach Ed Icestone just pulled off with his team. I think what a lot of people thought was nearly impossible.
A couple guys from OSU did blow up badly, but you got to really respect what BYU did here at Big 12s, as although things change when the race moves up to 10K and there's a different nationals course and field, they proved that the OSU juggernaut, loaded with foreign talent, is in fact beatable, and not even by a thin margin. And their number 1 clinger also proved that there are guys in the NCAA circuit who can run with a sub 60-minute half marathoner in cross country. The BYU woman also came through in a dominating performance over West Virginia, as after this race got recalled due to a false start with this runner falling here. Yeah, that probably had to have hurt a bit. And you don't really see that one very often in cross country races.
That's a false start. Oh my goodness.
How often do you see that, John?
But BYU got to work after this second start, got off cleanly, and they look like the number 1 squad for winning Nats right now. I'd also say watch out for West Virginia senior and Big 12 champ Kaylee McCabe, as she could be another contender for the individual crown, especially if conditions are rough, as they often are in Madison.
A dominant race by Kaylee McCabe. She's absolutely establishing herself as someone to watch later this month at Wisconsin.
Overall, there's other notable results that I won't cover too much in detail here, but are important, such as in the Big Ten Conference. The big story there had to have been a dominating performance from the Oregon women over the heavily favored UW squad, as Oregon took them down 33-60. And there's a lot of other results that can be impactful for the later meets. Like NAU always has great talent, but they aren't quite as loaded as years past, I feel. The next stop, though, is the final test before the big dams in regionals, where teams look to qualify for nationals. With Nuttycombe and pre-nationals at the same spot this year, we haven't quite had a real super loaded meet where everyone goes and competes like we usually do to determine who's the big favorite for nationals. But at the 2024 conference meets, there were plenty of big names that were establishing themselves as individuals and teams to watch out for this year. There's nothing quite like cross-country season with the unique combination of individual talent and team spirit on courses that really challenge the best runners in the country. If you enjoy coverage of the sport like this, be sure to like and subscribe. See ya in the next one.